Yeah, it's been 6 months since I made a vlog. Hello, Ariel Violet here. Now, 6 months ago, approximately, at some point in June, I posted a video on this account called I'm Sorry. And I'm pretty sure about 5 people saw it, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways. It was basically this performance art experimental thing I decided to post on this account. Just a very extreme tone shift from my other stuff I posted on this account. And probably was not a wise decision. But it was a performance. It wasn't me speaking sincerely, but it was coming from a real place, and it was expressing real mental health struggles I was experiencing in a experimental way. And it was something I was at that time very interested in, like these YouTube apologies and different, you know, non-apologies, and this kind of public atonement. And I was also at a point in my mental state where I was feeling like a fuck up and feeling like I had a lot to apologize for. So it was something it wasn't just all off the cuff. I did have a script that I wrote, but it was coming from a very real place of mental anguish, and it was channeled into a video. And you can still see these videos. I have them posted on my other YouTube channel, but I don't know. It was an experiment, and like most pieces of experimental performance work, it was pretentious and a failure not very good. Also, interestingly enough, not the first time I channeled my mental health issues into really shitty performance art. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail about my mental health struggles in this video, but basically for, really more than a year, but at the very least, quite a few months, I had not been taking care of my mental health. I felt like there were a lot of expectations I had to live up to, and I was not living up to them. But also, because I wasn't taking care of my mental health, it just became worse and worse. It became a spiral. It became a cycle of feeling worthless and feeling not good enough, and then that driving me to make mistakes and also not fulfill the goals I wanted to fulfill, and making more mistakes. And it became a cycle that was very hard to escape from. And I started to get help in June, but unfortunately, the little bit of help I got, and that included some medications, was not enough to avoid a complete mental breakdown, which, again, I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details, but it was bad enough that I ended up in the hospital and ended up in an inpatient psych facility for about 2 weeks. I've made a lot of progress in the last 5-6 months, and it took a lot to get to where I am now. I'm sure that the medications I'm on have played a role, as well as the outpatient groups, the inpatient help that I needed in my time of crisis, help from family and friends. Something that's been difficult as I've dealt with depression is dealing with the fact that it's my mind, it's my thoughts that are part of the depression. And it's easy for me to really identify with that thinking, identify with that depression, and see that depression as a core part of myself, feeling like the guilt, overwhelming guilt and overwhelming shame that I've experienced, that's something I'm supposed to feel, that I should feel guilty, that I should feel ashamed, that I'm a bad person, and that being depressed is the correct way, that I should carry this burden with me. And that's hard. I still struggle with that because I still struggle with feeling shitty about past mistakes I've made. For a lot of my life, I was really uncomfortable with the idea of taking any kind of psychiatric medication. And I think that comes from like a fear that it's going to change who I am at my core or change my personality in a significant way. And that's something I can certainly say. At least the medications I'm on, the antidepressants and the mood stabilizers, it doesn't change. It hasn't changed who I am at my core. In fact, it's done quite the opposite, and it's allowed who I really am to actually come out a little bit more, I think. It's allowed me to not have to exist with this constant burden and this constant resentment towards myself and towards others. That's something I've really had to reconcile, is that these ruminations and these like obsessive negative thought patterns and these negative core beliefs, they aren't who I am, even though they started to feel like they were who I was, because they became so controlling of my mind and my life, frankly. And for the record, the medication doesn't make all that go away. I still have negative thoughts. I still struggle with moments of, frankly, self-loathing, and these negative core beliefs are really hard to. Medication doesn't just make those go away. I've been in some group therapy, recovery groups, and going to an individual therapist, and a lot of work to try to deal with that kind of stuff, and still have a long way to go. It's not easy. Overall, if I could say one thing that's really changed about me, it's that I think I am feeling like I am existing more in the present moment, that I'm a little less everywhere, like feeling like I need to be focusing on being something, or getting towards a goal, or focusing on mistakes I've made in the past. I am a little bit more able to just exist and just appreciate moments of existing. Obviously, there are times that I ruminate about the past, and there's times where I'm very anxious about the future, and I'm, not totally satisfied with where I'm at now. But I am more able to take things one day at a time, a little bit. Because I've been trying little bits of everything: therapy, meditation, all that jazz. It's hard to know exactly how much one thing is working or how much another thing is really making the impact. But something I do know is that I'm really glad that I've gotten to a point where I can take care of myself to a certain degree, that I can actually care about my mental health, and that I actually do want to be better. And I guess if there's anything I can really say, or that any actual point to this rambling video, it's that it's worth getting help. for your mental health, and it's worth taking time to take care of your mental health. And it's hard because I know when I've been at my worst, I certainly didn't feel like I deserved to have any help. I thought I just deserved to be miserable. And it's hard to get out of that. And it's hard to ask for help when you feel like you're worthless. But you are worth it. But what's also tricky is, unfortunately, particularly in America, but frankly, not just in America, it's easier for some people to get mental health care and just any health care than it is for others. I am very lucky in that I'm on my father's insurance, and that it's good insurance. It definitely lets me get mental health care that many other people would not be able to get, that many other people would have to pay a lot more for. And I think that that would cause some guilt for me, but I think sometimes something that I've came to recognize is, instead of just feeling guilty that I have advantages that other people don't have, I think recognizing that other people should have, people, we need to treat mental health care and all health care as a right that people deserve. People deserve mental health care. People deserve health care. It's something that we should recognize as something that people should be able to get if they need it. And I hope it doesn't, in America, it doesn't, like, there's obviously talk about it, about, some sort of universal healthcare system, and hopefully it would include mental health. It's, politics are not necessarily a very optimistic thing in general. There are some people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who, stand out as people who are promising, but there's also a lot of shit that's very discouraging. But I don't think that it's I don't think the answer is just giving up. I don't think it's just to give in to cynicism and nihilism. As an individual, I've recognized that it's worth it for me to survive and to put effort in actually surviving. And I think that collectively, even though the current political state, the current just a lot of general conditions seem hopeless, and it seems like we don't really have much power to do much to change the situation, to help others. It's worth trying. It's worth putting the effort in. It's worth just doing those small things, even if it's as simple as donating to someone's GoFundMe who's in need. I don't know. Anyways, that's my little update vlog. See you again in another 6 months. Bye.